Hello and welcome to ONCA 101, Disciplining and Removing Members of Ontario Nonprofits. My name is Benjamin Miller and I'm a lawyer who serves nonprofits and charities, and I'm of counsel with B.I.G Charity Law Group. In this video, I'll go over the rules under Ontario's Not-for-Profit Corporations Act for disciplining and removing members of your nonprofit. Now, ideally, in the best world, it shouldn't happen that you should have to discipline or remove a member, but often law is most useful when things go wrong. So it's all about setting up your rules ahead of time when all the heads are cool and nobody's taking anything personally, so that when a situation does arise, people don't feel that rules are being made up on the fly to address a specific situation. In this video, I will address how you should define when members will be disciplined, how you should define who decides if a member will be disciplined, how you should define how much notice the member gets, and how you should define the member's rights to respond. So let's get started. And I'll just note before we get started that the following presentation is general legal information, not legal advice tailored to your specific situation, especially if you're considering disciplining or expelling a member. There might be some significant issues, so you might want to consider talking to a competent legal advisor. My contact information is at the end of this presentation, and you should always feel free to go to charitylawgroup.ca. Okay, so the first thing that your articles or bylaws need to set out is the circumstances under which a member will be disciplined or might be disciplined. You want it to be set out plainly in writing so that there's no question that you just made it up afterwards, right? And you really want to think through and use broad language when it comes to defining when a member might be disciplined. Because you don't want them to be able to argue that, sure, what I did was wrong, but it's not against any rule of the organization. So, for example, what are some strategies you can use? Well, one good practice is to get all your members to sign a code of conduct, or at least to put in your membership application form that by applying to be a member, you are agreeing to abide by the rules of the code of conduct. It can also be very helpful to say that a condition of membership is that you agree to abide by the bylaws and policies of the organization as they change, right? So today we might have one standard, but in a couple of years we might realize, develop new sensitivities to new issues, might realize there are additional problems. So you really want to have a very thoughtful code of conduct, and you want to be reviewing your bylaws and policies on an ongoing basis as society's understanding of different issues evolve. You need to define in your articles and bylaws who has the power to discipline members. It can't just be the president, it can't just be the board. That isn't assumed. You have to set it out in your articles and bylaws. It could be a committee of directors, a committee of members, or a committee consisting of both directors and members, but you have to say who. You need to define how much notice the member who might be disciplined needs to be given. So they need to be told at least 15 days in advance. You can give them more notice, but at least 15 days in advance that you're considering disciplining them and what the reasons for that discipline you're considering is. And they need to be given an opportunity to give their side of the story. At least 5 days before the decision is taken, they need to be given the opportunity to respond either orally, in writing, or in another format. And you would explain in your articles or bylaws what the format is. And you want to think about, well, what's the most accessible we can make the process. Because fundamentally, if this were to ever go to court, what the court is looking for is that there is fairness in the procedures you used, that any discipline that was taken was done in good faith with a view to the best interests of the organization and not due to some kind of personal animosity or bias or unfairness. So that's a general overview of Ontario Not-for-Profit Corporations Act rules of disciplining or expelling members. If you have any questions, please reach out at benjamin.miller@charitylawgroup.ca or visit charitylawgroup.ca and get in touch with one of our team.